Good, happy Thursday morning, August 29, 2019. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. Let's begin. First up, Hannaford to offer paid parental leave for employees. Let's take a listen to this video from WMTW News 8 Maine.
For 10 years, New England homeowners have trusted Century Roofing. We get the job done right at a fair price. Call today to arrange a free estimate and to reserve a spot for your 2019 roof replacement. Century Roofing, we've got you covered.
Employees will soon be able to take advantage of a paid parental leave. Hannaford announcing the new program today, and it goes into effect on September 1st. It applies to all workers regardless of gender. Hannaford officials hope the program will lead to better work-life balance for their employees.
We're an organization that's prided ourselves on listening to the feedback of our associates. They've told us loud and clear that they'd like more support in living a balanced lifestyle, and we think this parental leave benefit is going to help them achieve that balance.
According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, just 17% of workers had access to paid family leave in 2018.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. New Hampshire businesses say they're struggling to collect taxes on out-of-state purchases. Supreme Court decision affects businesses not used to collect sale tax. Let's take a listen to this video from WMUR News 9, Siobhan Lopez.
On now at Holloway Cadillac. Enjoy this month's lease and finance.
Senator Shaheen held that hearing here this afternoon where a panel of 4 businesses from here in New Hampshire talked about how they've struggled with the cost and the time that comes with collecting sales tax for other states. The Supreme Court ruling South Dakota v. Wayfair went into effect last June. Since then, companies have had to collect a sales tax based on where the buyer is located. A common misconception is that this only affects online sales, but if a company ships to another state, they are liable to collect the sales tax for where that product is headed. Senator Shaheen reintroduced legislation that would pause the law and make changes to make it easier for companies to comply. Those who spoke today say it becomes daunting when they're trying to navigate the regulations in different areas. One says, for example, the state of Texas has around 1,400 taxing jurisdictions.
This is an issue that affects not just businesses in states like New Hampshire that have no sales tax, but small businesses across this country who are going to have to pay to multiple jurisdictions where they may not have had to pay taxes in the past. So if I was to sell something to Texas, it's not just like, well, I know what the threshold in Texas is. I have to figure out where that person lives, what their billing address is, where their actual product is going, and then figuring out inside that jurisdiction, is that product considered taxable or not taxable? What is the tax rate on that? Because it's varying tax rates. And then am I going to comply with that jurisdiction, and how do I comply with it?
Now, Senator Maggie Hassett does not sit on this particular committee, but she did attend today's hearing. She says she gained valuable knowledge to bring to the Senate Finance Committee. Live in Concord, Siobhan Lopez, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Market basket workers, customers recall fight 5 years ago that saved CEO. Many say fight was about preserving companies' culture. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Andy Hirschberger.
and customers are roaming the aisles at the Londonderry Market Basket, a far cry from the summer of 2014 when the supermarket chain was in the middle of a corporate battle for ownership.
You had a lot of questions about your own job. Were we going to be employed? Was the company going to continue?
It was 5 years ago today that the company's board of directors agreed to sell control of Market Basket to Arthur T. Demoulas, keeping it family-owned and operated after a 6-week power struggle for what many saw as the heart and soul of the business. But it was a unique marriage of employees and customers that made that victory possible.
When we asked the customers not to come in and not to shop here, it was like a switch. The switch went off and no one came.
Today, Senator Maggie Hassan, who was governor at the time, met with shoppers and employees. These workers say they were fighting for a corporate culture that cared about them as people. And when they asked for help, the customers answered the call. Michelle Cooper had shopped at this store for about 25 years and had 3 teenagers working here when she joined the Market Basket boycott.
They really learned a lesson on standing by what you believe in. They really did, because nobody came. It was crickets around here. You wouldn't be seen in here. It was the wrong thing to do.
People can come together when they're in need and when they don't think something's right. They do what they think is right, and we all just took one another's hand and went in it together.
One worker today remembered an impromptu conga line forming around the store when they got word that the struggle was effectively over. Reporting live, I'm Andy Hirschberger, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Some Concord parents ask school superintendent to resign after teacher arrested. District says it's making policy changes regarding reports of sexual assault. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Kristen Carosa.
For 10 years, New England homeowners have trusted Century Roofing. We get the job done right at a fair price. Call today to arrange a free estimate and to reserve a spot for your 2019 roof replacement. Century Roofing, we've got you covered.
Since the arrest of special education teacher Primo Howie Leung for sexual assault charges against a former student, a number of Concord School District policies have been changed when it comes to reporting suspected assault or abuse. Leung has pleaded not guilty to the charges.
From what I understand, there is a commitment on the part of the board and this coalition to continue the process of reviewing the policies. I don't think we got it 100% right.
The district also launched an investigation months ago into how school leaders handled the Leung case, which remains ongoing.
It is our hope, this coalition's hope, that the school board will see the report in its entirety, make available to the public what it can, take action where necessary, and really work to revise the culture of this district.
But now more than 2,000 people have signed a petition asking Superintendent Terry Forston to step down. Our attempts to speak with her several times over the past couple of weeks were unsuccessful.
We feel like the only way forward is by having new leadership.
Darlene Gildersleeve is part of a group called Advocates for Change. She says the petition will be given to the school board today before the board meets for an emergency meeting with legal counsel.
The culture that we really want to see promoted is a positive school culture where students, families, and teachers feel supported, but they also feel like they can provide constructive feedback.
Many people who signed that petition tell us they'll be at the next public school board meeting in September to make that message known. Reporting in Concord, Kristen Carosa, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Kristen Gillibrand becomes latest to drop out of the presidential race. Gillibrand made the announcement on Twitter on Wednesday. Let's take a listen to this video from WMUR News 9, Cherise LeClaire.
For 10 years, New England homeowners have trusted Century Roofing. We get the job done right at a fair price. Call today to arrange a free estimate and to reserve a spot for your 2019 roof replacement. Century Roofing, we've got you covered.
I know this isn't the result we wanted. We wanted to win this race. But it's important to know when it's not your time.
After 8 months on the campaign trail, Kirsten Gillibrand surprising some as a high-profile candidate leaving the race for president.
I think this shows what an unusual year 2020 is shaping up to be.
While in New Hampshire, Gillibrand attracted interest and some sizable crowds. Experts say she didn't see bumps in the polls or fundraising.
She is somebody who had been talked about as a likely presidential candidate since she arrived in the Senate back in 2009. But for whatever reason, she just had this difficulty launching a campaign.
It comes as Democrats look to qualify by midnight for the debate stage next month. Gillibrand failed to qualify by not hitting at least 2% in a minimum of 4 approved public opinion polls and not earning 130,000 different donors. The New York senator is just the latest Democrat to drop out, joining U.S. Rep. Eric Swalwell of California, former Colorado Governor John Hickenlooper, Washington Governor Jay Inslee, and U.S. Rep. Seth Moulton of Massachusetts.
Well, a couple things are going on. One is that the more stringent debate criteria are, I think, sorting the field into 2 groups. The folks with some name recognition, some polling support, and ability to raise money, and the ones who are struggling on one or more of those fronts.
Now, so far, Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, Andrew Yang, Julian Castro, and Beto O'Rourke have all qualified for that 3rd debate. Meantime, President Trump weighing in, tweeting, "A sad day for the Democrats. Kirsten Gillibrand has dropped out of the presidential primary. I'm glad they never found out that she was the one I was really afraid of." Monica?
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. In show of commitment to New Hampshire, Colin Boucher campaign to open 5 field offices. Senator Amy Colin Boucher campaign says it plans to open 5 field offices in New Hampshire over the next several weeks. Demonstrates the campaign's commitment to the volatility in the first primary state. In addition to its current headquarters in Manchester, the campaign will open a separate Manchester field office as well as offices in Portsmouth, Lebanon, and Keene by September 1st, with the Nashua office set to open in mid-September. Joe Biden endorsed by New Hampshire firefighters union members. Former Vice President Joe Biden has picked up the endorsements of 4 New Hampshire firefighters and union members. Biden has already been endorsed by the International Association for Firefighters. He has now picked up the backing of Sanders, Gabbard to head to New Hampshire ahead of NHDP convention. We reported so far this week that Senator Elizabeth Warren and Cory Booker have scheduled return visits to the Granite State in the next 10 days. Senator Bernie Sanders and U.S. Rep. Tulsi Gabbard also have upcoming Granite State visits planned. Gabbard has scheduled 5 events for Thursday and Friday, September 5th and 6th. As previously announced, she'll speak at the Politics and Eggs Breakfast at the New Hampshire Institute of Politics on September 5th at 8 a.m. Later that day, she'll attend a meet and greet at the Warren Public Library at 1 p.m., followed by 6:30 p.m. at a town hall in Nashua at the Utrecht Universalist Church. On September 6th, Gabbard will meet veterans at the Joe Shandard Veterans Memorial Pavilion Project in Newmarket and then hold a town hall with voting rights activist Lawrence Lessing at Dover High School at 6 p.m. On Saturday, she will join a host of her fellow candidates speaking at the state Democratic Party convention at SNHU Arena. Sanders returns to New Hampshire on Sunday, September 1st for a town hall and ice cream social at Raymond High School at 2 p.m. He'll lead a rally at the Rotary Arts Pavilion in Dover at 4 p.m. After a detour to Portland, Maine on Sunday night and Labor Day morning, Sanders will march in the Milford Labor Day Parade that afternoon. He'll then hold town halls and ice cream socials at Putman Park in Peterborough at 2 p.m. and at the Common Man Inn in Claremont at 4:30 p.m. On Tuesday, September 3rd, Sanders will meet with voters at the Circle 9 Ranch Campground in Epsom at 8:30 a.m. and then hold a town hall and ice cream social at Nashua Community College at 12:30 p.m. Sanders is expected to return to the state later in the week for the Democratic Convention. U.S. stock features point to slightly lower open. U.S. stock index features were set to open slightly lower Thursday morning. College student arrested with guns was planning mass shooting, police say. Police arrested a North Carolina University student who admitted to planning a mass shooting at his school, authorities said Wednesday. And that does it for the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you back here later on today for another newscast. And I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Goodbye, everyone.